Imagine a country smaller than Connecticut, with less than 3 million people sitting in the middle of the Arabian desert. On the surface, it looks like nothing but sand and heat. Yet this nation is ranked among the richest on Earth. This is Qatar, a place where oil and gas turned sand into skyscrapers, and a desert into one of the most ambitious economies in the modern world. But how does the system actually work? And what makes Qatar different from other wealthy nations? Qatar's story of wealth begins deep underground. Beneath its desert lies one of the world's largest reserves of natural gas. In fact, Qatar controls the third largest proven reserves of natural gas on Earth, and it is the #1 exporter of liquefied natural gas, LNG. This single resource transformed Qatar from a poor, purling economy into a global energy powerhouse. Every shipment of LNG fuels not only Asia and Europe, but also Qatar's financial system. Oil and gas revenues provide nearly 60% of the nation's GDP and more than 85% of its export earnings. In short, energy is the bloodline of Qatar's wealth and the foundation of everything else that followed. In Qatar, wealth isn't just measured by the size of its gas fields. It's measured by how that wealth is shared. For Qatari citizens, the government provides what many would call a golden safety net. Housing is heavily subsidized, electricity and water are often free, and healthcare and education come at little to no cost. Citizens also receive land grants, interest-free loans, and in some cases, direct stipends. In a nation where less than 15% of the population are actual Qatari nationals, this system creates a unique contrast. Citizens enjoy one of the highest standards of living on the planet, while the vast majority of foreign workers power the industries that make this possible. Qatar's wealth isn't hidden. It rises into the sky in the form of glass towers, stadiums, and futuristic cities. Over the last 2 decades, the government has poured billions into infrastructure projects designed not only to serve its people, but to showcase Qatar on the world stage. The Hamad International Airport, one of the most advanced in the world. Lusail, a brand new city built from scratch with skyscrapers and marinas on desert land. And of course, the monumental stadiums that hosted the 2022 FIFA World Cup, each a symbol of ambition and national pride. These projects are more than buildings. They are statements. They declare that Qatar is not just wealthy, but powerful, modern, and determined to be seen. Qatar knows that oil and gas will not last forever. That is why in 2008, the country launched an ambitious roadmap, Qatar National Vision 2030. The plan is simple but bold. Transform Qatar into a knowledge-based economy. This means massive investment in finance, tourism, education, and aviation. Qatar Airlines has become one of the most respected airlines in the world, turning Doha into a global hub. Universities from America and Europe have opened campuses in Education City, training a new generation of leaders. Tourism is expanding, with museums, cultural festivals, and luxury experiences designed to attract global visitors. Step by step, Qatar is rewriting its future, one that will outlast the oil wells and gas fields. Qatar doesn't just spend its wealth at home, it invests it across the world. The Qatar Investment Authority, or QIA, is one of the largest sovereign wealth funds on the planet, with assets worth more than $500 billion. Through QIA, Qatar owns pieces of global icons, Harrods in London, Volkswagen in Germany, Barclays Bank, and even the Paris Saint-Germain Football Club. These investments are more than financial, they are strategic. They give Qatar influence in international markets, diversify their income, and secure a future beyond oil and gas. For a nation with just a few million people, Qatar's financial reach extends into the heart of the global economy. Behind Qatar's glittering wealth lies a hidden reality. Only about 15% of the people living here are actual Qatari nationals. The rest, millions of men and women, are migrant workers from countries like India, Nepal, Bangladesh, and the Philippines. These workers build the skyscrapers, run the shops, drive the taxis, and even maintain the oil and gas facilities. Their wages are modest, often just a few $100s a month, a stark contrast to the luxury enjoyed by citizens. This divide is one of Qatar's greatest paradoxes. A nation with the highest GDP per capita in the world, but an economy sustained by the hard labor of those who will never share fully in its wealth. In Qatar, wealth is not only seen in balance sheets, it is visible in daily life. Shopping malls sparkle with luxury brands, sports cars line the streets of Doha, and fine dining is part of urban culture. For citizens, this standard of living is supported directly by state wealth. Yet beneath the luxury, Qatari society remains deeply rooted in tradition. Family bonds, hospitality, and Islamic values shape the way money is spent and shared. Friday prayers are just as important as weekend shopping, and while skyscrapers tower over the desert, many families still gather for traditional meals in Bedouin style. Qatar's economy may be global, but its culture is proudly local, blending modern consumption with centuries-old customs. Qatar's wealth is extraordinary, but it is not without risks. The nation remains heavily dependent on oil and gas, resources that the world is slowly moving away from. As renewable energy grows, demand for fossil fuels may decline, testing Qatar's ability to diversify its economy. At the same time, regional politics remain a constant challenge. The 2017 blockade by neighboring countries showed just how fragile stability can be, even for the richest nation. Climate change also threatens the Gulf, with rising temperatures and water scarcity creating new pressures on infrastructure and society. For Qatar, the question is not just how to stay rich, but how to adapt before the tide of change arrives. Qatar's story is one of transformation, from a desert economy of pearl divers to a global giant of energy and finance. Its skyscrapers, world-class airlines, and billion-dollar investments testify to astonishing progress. Yet true wealth is measured not just in money, but in resilience. The challenge for Qatar is clear. Can it secure a future when oil and gas no longer dominate the world? Can its vision of diversification, education, and global investment truly sustain the next generation? In the end, Qatar represents more than riches. It is a living experiment, a small nation asking a big question: how do you turn today's fortune into tomorrow's survival?